Okay, everybody, here is chapter 3 of our new book, Out of Time. Now, Jaden and Abby, we didn't get the chance to read chapter 2 in class yesterday, so you might want to go back in our Google Classroom and go to the read aloud for yesterday, which is 11:3, and listen to chapter 2 first, okay? Because this is chapter 3. Here we go. Chapter 3, Out of Time, Lost on the Titanic. All aboard. Allie grabbed the railing. Luna was nowhere in sight. Allie tried not to panic, but Luna was still so young. How would she know what to do on a ship? How would they know what to do on a ship? This had to be some kind of strange dream. Allie stared at the enormous stacks above them. Max leaned over the railing and peered at the raging waves beneath the ship. The air was very cold and damp. It made Allie's nose and throat hurt a little. Max was the first to speak. What just happened? I'm not sure, said Vic, but I think we're on an ocean liner, one of those huge ships that used to carry people across the Atlantic. It looks like the Titanic, Allie whispered. Although she was worried about Luna, history was Allie's favorite subject, and she couldn't help but be amazed at what she saw. She learned about the Titanic in school, and this ship looked like a page right out of her textbook. But there was no way they could be standing on the deck of a ship that had sunk more than 100 years ago. Yes, Vic said, exactly like the Titanic. But he looked like he didn't believe what he was saying. He also looked a little scared. That worried Allie. Vic was never afraid of anything. That's not possible, Max said as a man wearing a top hat and a long coat came toward them, looking at the three of them like they were creatures from another planet. As the man walked past, Max reached up and tapped the man's hat. Max! Allie grabbed his arm. Fortunately, the well-dressed man kept on walking. I know it's not possible, but we're looking at it, Vic said. One second you were trying to catch Luna, and the next, we're standing here. Her spinning must have sent us here, Allie said. Her spinning and that spinner stuck inside her. Allie thought about poor Luna lost on this huge ship all by herself. The poor pup had never even seen the ocean. Just like Juniper said, a GPS for time and space, Max said. What if she was telling the truth? What if it turned Luna into a portal of some sort? Where is Luna? Allie asked. She looked down at the deck in both directions, and all she saw were people in the distance. The ship was so big, it was like looking down several city blocks. It's freezing. We have to find her and get home. How do you suppose we do that? Max said. Swim? Allie hugged herself to keep warm. If we're right and Luna's a portal and chasing her tail got us here, chasing her tail again has to get us back, right? Neither of the boys answered. They walked the deck for a while, looking for their black and white dog. They passed lifeboats hanging above the deck and large red and white flotation rings. Everywhere they looked, there were doors and passageways leading off the deck. Allie might have actually enjoyed exploring the massive ship if she weren't so worried about Luna and getting home. Every once in a while, they called Luna's name, but there was no sign of her, and Allie wasn't sure if Luna would even be able to hear them over the crashing waves and groaning ship engines. She also wondered if maybe Luna hadn't made it to the ship in the first place. Maybe she'd spun off somewhere else. Maybe the three of them were stuck there. If Vic was right and this was the Titanic, they were in very big trouble. As they turned the corner near the front of the ship, a man dressed in a white cap and black jacket with lots of buttons stopped them. Allie knew he had to be part of the crew. His name tag said Officer Lowe. What are you kids doing up here? Officer Lowe asked. He had a British accent. His nose was red from the cold. Get back to your quarters. This section is for first-class passengers only. The officer stood still, blocking their way. Allie saw a few people behind him, women dressed in full ruffled gowns and men dressed in all black. No one was wearing jeans or sweatshirts like she and the boys were. Everyone looked elegant and old fashioned, like the people in the antique photographs her parents never sold. But there was still no sign of Luna. Sir, Allie asked, what is the name of this ship? Officer Lowe looked at her like she was trying to start trouble. Little lady, unless you are a stowaway, you know perfectly well you are aboard the unsinkable Titanic. Now off with you. Get back to third class where you and these other ruffians belong. Yes, sir, Vic said, trying to pull his sister and best friend along. We're leaving. Sorry to bother you. Vic, Allie, and Max turned and quickly walked back in the direction they'd come from. Well, I think now we know for sure what the infinity spinner does, Vic said. He stopped walking and pointed to one of the flotation rings. What? Asked Max, but Allie already saw what Vic was pointing at. Printed on the side was RMS Titanic. There was no doubt now. Juniper's infinity spinner had made them travel through time and space, and it had landed them on the deck of the Titanic. This is not good, Max said, shaking his head. Not good at all. Way worse than the VET. We've got to find Luna, and fast, Allie said. This ship is enormous, Vic said. Where do we start? If I know anything about Luna, said Max, it's that she loves to eat. Allie nodded. Yes, the kitchen. We have to find the kitchen. I think it's called a galley on a ship. And on a ship this big, Allie thought there were probably several, she had learned that the Titanic had many levels of living quarters, and she guessed that each one probably had its own galley. Any one of them would be Luna's personal puppy paradise. We have to start somewhere, she said, pushing open a door that led into a long, bright, warm passageway. Let's follow our noses. So that's chapter 3. So think about it. What could you tell me if you were going to retell this chapter and we were going up that hill and down the hill of uh-oh, uh-oh. Did we reach the resolved part yet? Where are we? And what would you retell so far? All right, my friends, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.